It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 5 films released on December 4th, 2009. And yes, we are at the last month of the 2000s, so we have 4 more weeks of movies in this first decade of the 21st century, so let's see if we can end this on a high note. And it's certainly not going to be this weekend because, as we all know, post-Thanksgiving weekend is usually the worst time to release some new films. Most of them are holdovers, films that the studio didn't believe in, films that the studio knows are terrible. But then you get a little gem every once in a while, and there definitely is one out there this week. And then there's a limited release for one of the best movies of the year. But before we get to those, let's get to the wider release films. And starting off with the first one we have here, Tobey Maguire, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Natalie Portman starring in the psychological war thriller, Brothers. Yeah, sorry for the international trailer. I don't even know what language that is off the top of my head, but I wanted to get a commercial there. I didn't want to go grab the trailer because I know that's going to get copyrighted, but then again, something else in this video will probably get copyrighted, but it's funny because this is not the first thing that was named Brothers in the fall of 2009. There was a show on Fox, a sitcom, which starred Michael Strahan, formerly of the New York Giants, and also featured Dule Hill from Psych. I believe it was him or somebody else. I can't remember, but I could have sworn it was Dule Hill. But yeah, this is not the first thing to be named Brothers, but this one at least has some more memorability than that show did. But this is a movie where you have, it's basically taking inspiration from the epic poem of Odyssey by Homer. Not Homer Simpson, but Homer's Odyssey. And this is a remake of a 2004 Danish film of the same name, in which you have a USMC officer captured by the Taliban, played by Tobey Maguire. He's presumed killed in the war in Afghanistan, and upon being rescued and reunited with his brother, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and his wife, Natalie Portman, he suffers from severe PTSD, and he struggles reintegrating into society. So, it's a post-traumatic stress disorder storyline here, and this is one of those movies where it's not bad per se, but you could definitely tell it was a movie that was trying to go for Oscars. I mean, you know, this is a movie where Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, especially Tobey Maguire, is doing the best he can to try to get an Oscar here, and it doesn't really work all that well. There are times when his performance works, and his performance overall makes sense. He's a guy that's suffering through PTSD. Of course he's going to have those situations where, you know, he's gonna not think straight overall, and it definitely shows in this movie. But there are a lot of uncomfortable moments in this movie, and the film itself isn't really all that memorable, except for a couple of lines here and there, like when Tobey Maguire has this big meltdown. You know what I did, like that scene, and there's one line from the daughter that I always remember, mostly because, for some reason on social media, whenever Damar Hamlin does something wrong for the Buffalo Bills, they go to the clip from this movie where the daughter is like, "Why didn't you just stay dead?" Like whenever Damar Hamlin messes up or something, and I can't remember who it was that was on there, but he does it. They do it every once in a while. If Damar Hamlin does something that hurts the team overall, you see that clip on there. "Why didn't you just stay dead?" Like, it's a harsh scene, too. Like, when you have a little girl saying, "Why didn't you just stay dead?" I mean, that's the kind of stuff you keep inside of you. You don't let that stuff out, because that leads to a lot of conflict overall. But, the film overall isn't terrible. They got good people behind it. Jim Sheridan, who did My Left Foot and In the Name of the Father, and David Benoff, who's written a couple of other movies we've talked about here, Stay, which is kind of an underrated movie overall. And he's written some other stuff, too. Most notably, he's one of the guys behind Game of Thrones. And the acting overall does work. I mean, it's not a bad movie per se, but it definitely is one of those give us awards type of movies where you can just tell they're trying so desperately hard to get that Oscar, and they're just not going to get it here. And like I said, not a bad movie, but not a great movie either. Kind of a mixed bag. For one-time watch, I think it's fine, but other than that, though, you're never going to want to watch it again after that. Certainly, you'll want to watch it more than our next movie, though. Matt Dillon starring in Armored. So you have a war veteran, played by Columbus Short, hired to work as the security guard by the Eagle Shield Security, where his old friend, Mike Colcherone, played by Matt Dillon, weird name, works. And Ty is having financial difficulties after the death of his father, and raising his brother Jimmy alone. He teams up with Mike's brother-in-law, Baines, played by, Lawrence Fishburne. And they're co-workers, and they basically decide, Mike invites Ty to join in on the robbery of 2 armored trucks transporting $42 million. The reluctant Ty accepts after Mike promises that nobody will be hurt in the heist. Well, gee, Clearly, that's what's going to happen in this movie. I mean, why else would they even bother doing this? Why even have the movie if that's not going to happen? I mean, spoiler alert, that happens here. And for this director, this is directed by Nimrod Antal, who did Vacancy, which was a really good movie. And then the following summer, he'll definitely have a much better movie in Predators. But this, yeah, you can put as many notable people in here as you want to. Matt Damon, Matt Dillon, John Reno, Lawrence Fishburne, Emery Nolasco from Prison Break, Milo Ventimiglia, Skeet Ulrich, Columbus Short, Fred Ward. You can put all those guys in there if you want to. But can you have a better script than just, a generic heist thriller? I mean, the best heist thrillers have at least an edge to them that make them kind of unique and make them stand out on their own. But this is by the numbers. This is a film that you've seen done to that before so many times in the past, and it just doesn't deliver here, man. This is just not a very good movie overall. It just really is the type of movie that you expect to see on the weekend after Thanksgiving. The studio doesn't believe in it, and they push it off to Thanksgiving. So hopefully that when it fails, everyone can just say, well, it's not our fault. We put the movie out after Thanksgiving. We really thought it was going to be successful. And funny thing happening on this movie too. The film accidentally got released on the PlayStation Network free of charge when the movie was out in theaters. And even though they spotted the mistake, it was downloaded thousands of times before the error was fixed. So people had already seen the damn movie before this thing could have a chance to make any money back, which it did not. And yeah. And they were probably very disappointed with the end result of it. I'll just say that. So with all that said, that's Armored. Let's get to some good movies finally. Let's get to the movies that you want to see. The movies that are very, very good. And this is definitely one that's very, very good. Everybody's Fine. Once again, I make another big mistake. I thought that Edward Norton was the son in this movie, but no, it's Sam Rockwell. I mean, well, at least this time I was close, because Sam Rockwell and Edward Norton kind of are similar to one another, but maybe not. Just go with it, okay? I've got a really good movie here to talk about. Robert De Niro stars as Frank Good, living by himself in Elmira, New York, a recent widower with heart trouble and retiring after a factory job he's had, and proud of having pushed his adult children towards success. In the summer, all 4 kids bail on a reunion, so against doctor's orders, Frank decides to surprise each of them with a visit. He sets out to see his artist son in New York City, played by Sam Rockwell, his daughter, the ad executive in Chicago, played by Kate Beckinsale, his son, the conductor on tour and presenting in Denver. Actually, that's Sam Rockwell. It's weird, because the trailer only shows like 3, the poster only shows 3 of his sons, so who's the 4th son? It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I thought there was more. I could have sworn it was just 3. Yeah, I completely forgot about the fact that we don't see David until very late on in the movie. Even though in the movie he's the first person that he goes to see, and he's not there, and he wonders if David's in trouble or something like that. But yeah, he doesn't come into play until later in the movie. He's played by an unknown actor that I thought looked familiar, but I'd never seen him before. Austin Peasy, I think it was. But back to the plot here. His son, the conductor on tour, that's the one who's played by Sam Rockwell, and his daughter, who's a performer in Vegas, played by Drew Barrymore. None are as he imagines or hopes. Will they let him see themselves as they are, or can he adapt? This is a really good movie that kind of came and went when it came out. It was a movie that, I mean, it literally went straight to DVD in other countries like Brazil, Russia, and Japan. It's actually based off of an Italian film called Everybody's Fine, which was released in 1990. And it's a really good movie. It's a film that is definitely worth the watch. Robert De Niro starring in a very good, underrated performance in this. You get to see a lot of really good actors in here doing some great work here. Drew Barrymore, Kate Beckinsale, Sam Rockwell. Austin. These other characters in here too. You have Melissa Leo in here, Catherine Money from The L Word. Austin Lysy is his name. Austin Lysy, Lysy. That's the David. That's the fourth son in here. Fourth kid in here, I should say. But yeah, it's a very good movie. It's a very nice comfort food movie. It reminds me a lot of Paul Newman's Nobody's Fool. It very much feels like that type of a movie. Like, it felt like that type of a film where you have a seasoned veteran actor at the forefront of it, and you have all these other performances coming into play here, and all of them do a pretty good job of keeping up the pace with the leading star, with the veteran actor there. And for Robert De Niro, it's a very good, charismatic performance that really just show The guy still has what it takes, man. He was really good in the film. It's an easy watch to sit through. It's only about an hour and a half long, and it is a good, heartfelt storyline here. I don't really consider it to be like a Christmas movie, kind of, but it's a really good movie regardless. It's a film that, like I said, I haven't seen in a while, but I've watched it so many times before when it was coming out on DVD. It was a movie that I really fell in love with right from the get-go. It was not a big hit when it came out, and this is, again, another example of why it's great to have a show like this, because they get to talk about some underrated gems like this. This is definitely one you want to seek out. Everybody's Fine. It's not, I think it's more than just fine. I think it's actually a really good movie that not a lot of people got to see the first time around, and hopefully it's found its audience over the years, but if not, definitely seek it out. It is definitely worth the watch. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get to easily the best movie of this week, and that's Jason Reitman's latest film, that's Up in the Air. Another reason why Jason Reitman is one of our great directors, man. A guy who can take these different types of movies. He can do something like Juno, and then Thank You for Smoking. But then he goes back to doing something. Then he goes to do something like this, and it really does show that he has a lot of range as a director. The story here centers around a traveling corporate downsizer played by George Clooney as he comes across all these different characters played by Vera Farmiga, Anna Kendrick, Jason Bateman, and Danny McBride, and he falls in love with Vera Farmiga in the process. And we get it. George Clooney's one of our great actors, and he's great in the movie too. He really is definitely as good as advertised. I mean, he really is the focus of the film, but a lot of good things come out of this movie, man. Not just Jason Reitman, but, Anna Kendrick. This was the movie I think that made everyone come to the realization that maybe the actors in Twilight aren't bad at all. Maybe they're just stuck with a terrible, terrible script overall, which it turned out to be true, because not only did we have Anna Kendrick doing that, but we also had Robert Pattinson branch out after Twilight, as well as Kristen Stewart. I mean, but Anna Kendrick really is the spotlight of the movie. She really does steal the film. She's great in the movie. The rest of the cast overall is great. Vera Farmiga, Danny McBride, Jason Bateman, J.K. Simmons, Zach Galifianakis. A strong, strong cast overall in this movie. And it delivers everything it promises and then some. It's a really damn good movie. It's one of Jason Reitman's best movies, showing that he's one of our great directors, and everybody in here plays their parts very well. What more can you say, man? Up in the Air is a fantastic, fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. One of the best movies of the year, easily. So, how do you follow up one of the best movies of the year? Wrap it up with a comedy that is more than likely going to end up as one of the worst comedies ever made. From the same guys that gave you Dorm Days, here's Transylvania.
Comedy.
Hey, I get to pull out that chestnut again. It's been a while since we've done that. But in a year where we've had some really, really bad comedies, behold our first Twilight parody. I mean, technically, it's not really a Twilight parody, but, I mean, come on. The opening of that trailer there is pretty much a straightforward Twilight parody. But moronic American students Rusty arrange a student exchange program for his closest friends and him to study in Romania for 6 months and meet his internet girlfriend, Draguda. He travels with potheads Pete and Wang, Pete's girlfriend Leah, his twin sister Danny, the naive and romantic Newmar, and his dippy girlfriend Lynn, the nerd Brady and his sexually confused roommate Mike, and crook Cliff. His friends actually intend to party. While traveling by train to Razvan, they learn that 500 years ago, the vampire Radu lost his beloved Stefania, whose spirit was trapped in the music box. Ever since Radu has kept Stefania's body while searching for the music box to bring her back. One of Radu's minions has recently retrieved the music box, but mortally wounded by the vampire slayer Theodora Van Sloan, drops the object in a gypsy's basket. Newmar unwittingly buys the music box and gives it to Lynn, who opens it and is possessed by Stefania. When all arrive at the university, they are welcomed by Dean Flocka, who is a dwarf. Why is he a dwarf? We don't know. Rusty meets Draguda and finds that she has a horrible hunchback. Not only is Dean Flocka her father, he's a psychopath who keeps a torture chamber in the dungeon of the house for his daughter's jittering boyfriends. With Radu on his way, who is identical to Rusty, the brainless American students find themselves in a very messy and convoluted situation, just like this fucking movie is a messy and convoluted situation. But then again, would you expect anything less from the same directors who gave us not just Dorm Days, but Dorm Days 2, College at Sea? We've talked about these movies on this show before. And if you think they've gotten better since then, No, they have not. And I'm pretty convinced that this was supposed to be a sequel to Dorm Days. I mean, this is a film that has a lot of the same people from that movie. I mean, there's a lot of notable names in here from those movies in particular. And this is just one of those movies where it's just like, what the hell were you thinking making this movie? Like, this film is just, if you hated Dorm Days and those movies, you're gonna hate this movie as well. I mean, like, I just don't get it, man. And these writers here, Pat Casey and Warren Miller, I can't believe that these guys would ruin their entire career by making these movies. They're never going to go on to do anything of importance here. As I look at their filmography and I see that they've done Sonic the Hedgehog's 1, 2, and 3, and Violent Night, and also Shotgun Wedding, and also they were behind Goal and the Insatiable, and were also involved in Into the Dark. Huh. So I guess their careers did get better after this point. Who knew? I mean, honestly, who knew that? And the Warren Miller guy's changed his name to Josh Miller, too, so I guess that works for him. But hey, there you go. There's some good did come out of this after all. The people that were involved, the writers of this movie went on to become some pretty good writers in their own rights. Look at what they've done with the Sonic films. Look at what they've done with Violent Night. So there is at least somebody who came out of this unscathed. It's like it's not like Soul Plane, where half the cast went on to become big stars in the process. No, this is definitely something where the writers should be eternally grateful that they are no longer associated with garbage like this. Because man, this was a rough sit through. I mean, the fact that the studio thought they had something so big, they put it in 1,000 theaters, and this thing bombed badly. This is one of the worst movies to open in 1,000 theaters. I think it only made $263,000 off of and only made $408,000. I don't know what the budget of it was for, but yeah, this thing did not do very well. $262 per screen average on its opening weekend. That's how bad this movie turned out to be. Yeah, just a bad movie overall. I mean, but then again, if you've seen Dorm Days and Dorm Days 2, you should not be surprised at all, honestly. Not much more to really add to this, per se, so yeah, you can just say that you wouldn't be shocked at all if I told you to avoid Transylvania like the plague, because, yeah, it's not a very good movie. Not a very good movie at all. And so, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And next week, well, The Princess and the Frog will be the big new release of the weekend, but we already took a look at that last time around. So we do still have 4 new releases to take a look at, including Clint Eastwood's latest film, Invictus, with Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon among the cast. We also have Larger Than Life in. And we also have A Single Man, which featured Colin Firth and Julianne Moore in an Oscar film from the Weinstein Company, and Peter Jackson's latest film, The Lovely Bones. So we do still have 4 movies to take a look at next time around. So we'll do that tomorrow on the show. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification button, and the bell, so you get updates on when new videos come out. And we do post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.